Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of AB and the Films.
All I see when I look at him is a collection of awful memories. Memories I spent most of my adult life trying to forget.
One man
How's many you?
That's hilarious, Janet.
and one boy will get a second chance
Holy smokes!
at life.
What happens next between being me and becoming you?
Disney's The Kid.
I was 7 years old when this movie came out. I remember seeing this on the big screen. And the ads on television were portraying this film to be sort of a dopey comedy where Bruce Willis has to take care of this kid. And they were showing all the slapstick moments on TV, all the funny one-liners, and that was it. I remember the TV ads were showing a lot of that. And I thought, this probably looks like a funny movie. And I went with my mom to go see this. And I loved it. I didn't see it again until years later. I think I was maybe 17, so about 10 years later I finally saw the movie. So this is 10 years ago. And I haven't seen it recently, but you know, watching the film again, I can't believe I've never talked about this movie before. And I don't think I put it in with the childhood movies, but I didn't watch this movie a lot as a child. But I remember seeing it as a child. And it's funny watching this movie because this was also the first movie where I saw Spencer Breslin in a film. And I always thought he was a really good child actor. You know, he went on to do a couple other movies after this. The Santa Claus sequels, I remember he did The Cat in the Hat. I think I'm one of the only people on planet Earth that actually likes The Cat in the Hat a little bit, but that's a different story. So, the Disney's The Kid, that's the name of it. It's not called The Kid. The Kid is the Charlie Chaplin movie. This is Disney's The Kid. And no, this is not a remake or a reboot of that. What is the film about? The film is about Bruce Willis.
You lousy jerk. Jerk.
If you get called a jerk 4 times in the same day, does that make it true?
What, only 4? Did you get up late?
But in the business of giving advice, he's the one who needs help the most.
There is nothing wrong with me.
Take your phone off. You're with a human now.
He's turning 40. He doesn't have anything in his life. He has a job he's not too particularly proud of. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have kids. He hardly ever talks to his father. And he is a real jerk.
This little boy is me at age 8. I want you to make him disappear.
How was the therapist this morning?
Do it, Janet.
And we've seen this formula before a little bit, where the adult... But it's done in a different way here, because usually the formula is the child will turn into an adult to learn a message, or the adult will turn into a child to learn a message. We've seen this in Big, we've seen this in Vice Versa, we've seen this in 17 again with Zac Efron. We've seen it in a lot of movies, but I don't think we've ever seen it in a movie before where the older version and the younger version of the same person are teamed up together. I don't think I've never seen a movie with it done like that. And the way it's portrayed here, I think, is done really well. I really like the way Bruce Willis and Spencer Breslin act off each other. I think they do really well in this movie. And it's got a lot of heart to the film as well. And watching this film as an adult, I really can connect with this movie on deeper levels, you know, because there were a lot of things in this movie I didn't really quite understand. Like the stuff with Spencer Breslin I was kind of interested in because he was my age at the time. I was 7 going on 8, and he's 8 years old in the movie. So I was around that age. So every time he was on screen I was interested, because I had never heard of Bruce Willis when this movie came out. I had never seen Die Hard, I had never seen The Sixth Sense, I hadn't seen any of his other films. This was the first time I ever saw Bruce Willis in a movie. And I really, really enjoyed this film. And for a Disney film, it's pretty deep. And it's funny. It's very funny, too. This is a good family movie. A really good family movie. And, you know, it's all about Bruce Willis trying to figure out where he went wrong in life? How did he become the person that he is today? What were the moments in life that made him become this person? Because he wants to change, and that's why the younger version of him comes to visit him. Russ, we gotta make a change here. We have to change. We can't keep doing this. We can't go through this life that we're in. Because, and he starts thinking about his childhood, and that's why he's there, and he's blocked out a lot of stuff from his past because he had something traumatized him as a kid. He doesn't know what it is, and that's why the younger version of him is trying to remember, but he hasn't gone through that yet because he's only 8 years old. So I'm kind of all over the place with this movie, but this is a movie where, like, when you watch it, you start having thoughts about, especially as an adult, you start having thoughts like, yeah, like, what would happen if this happened to me? If my younger self came to visit me, what would that be like? What would the conversation be like? What would I talk about? What would I not remember? What would I want to say to him? What would I want to tell him that has happened in between this time? What would he say to me? What kind of person did I used to be? What kind of person am I now because of this? All these questions start coming up, and they do have scenes like that in the movie. But what I really remember about this movie a lot are the comedy scenes between Bruce Willis and Spencer Breslin, and there's a lot of that too. But a lot of the heavy stuff is in throughout the movie, and a lot of it comes in really hard at the end of the movie, which I thought was really well done. And again, here's another thing about this movie. The movie, and I love movies that do this. Not to say I'm against movies that don't do this, but the way the film ends, and I won't ruin it for you if you haven't seen this, it ends with an open book. It's basically telling the audience, you figure it out. What do you think is going to happen here? They don't spoon feed it to you. They don't simplify it for you. They tell the audience, you make up your own mind. And that kind of sounds like a lazy way of ending a movie, but it, every time whenever I see this movie now, whenever the ending comes up, I just have a big smile on my face at the end, because it is an uplifting ending, and it's really well done, but it's not simplified, and I love that. I love it when movies, especially good movies, and this is a good movie, do that. That is well done. I'm trying to think, there were a lot of good moments in this. But I don't want to ruin those moments for you. And if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend that you check it out. If you have seen this movie, check it out again. It's definitely worth a second viewing. This movie is for kids, okay? I know I've done a lot of R-rated movies lately, but this one is for kids and adult. This is a good family movie. It's a Walt Disney movie. I mean, it's a Disney flick. It's a good one. And it's one that I remember seeing this in the theaters when it came out 20 years ago. Where did the time go? So those are my thoughts on Disney's The Kid. Yeah, it's really kind of an underrated film, I think. You don't hear too much about this movie, especially in the Disney films lineup, especially with the live-action Disney films. You don't hear about this one too often. It's usually brushed over, and I think it's a really well-done film. I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah, really enjoyed Disney's The Kid. Highly recommend it. Check it out. I will see you guys in the next review. Take care.